Oh, yeah, the one that gets played. Yeah.
I ain't scared.
There's our breakout. I think we're done with our podcast today. That was the greatest moment in the history of this network. Happy Friday, Falcons fans. Welcome back to the Friday Five. I'm your host, Will McFadden. I am joined, as always, by Tori McElhaney and Terrin Waack, and we are here to break down the 5 biggest things that you need to know ahead of Sunday's matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. But maybe the most important thing to know right now is that Pro Bowl voting is open, and you can make your voice heard on atlantafalcons.com/Pro Bowl, or you can vote on social media using the hashtag, or you can check out our QR code, which, if you didn't see last week's episode, go back and check it out on YouTube because the QR code placement was just all over the place.
Great.
It was amazing.
Yay,
so thank you for
Jared.
that, Jared. But let's get to our question of the day, which you can find, as always, on the Atlanta Falcons TikTok account. Tori, you got our question of the day?
Yes, I do. Let me pull it up really quickly. The question of the day is involving Spotify Wrapped, which just came out for everybody. And the question is, what was the top of the Spotify Wrapped? What was the Wrapped song of the year for the Atlanta Falcons? Ooh. That they play either in the locker room or out at practice.
Does Kirk Cousins have the aux? Because that changes my answer dramatically.
I didn't even think of that originally.
How much Blink-182 can we play?
Great question.
Love.
The limit does not exist. Madison, who is our coaching coordinator here at the Falcons, she's in charge of the playlist for practice, and she always tells me, she's like, I'm just gonna throw a Taylor Swift song in there. She's the one that, White Girl Wednesday, when they listen to Katy Perry and Ariana Grande.
I thought that was Kirk Cousins Day.
No. That is Madison all the way. So it's whatever is on the top of Madison Spotify Wrapped is what the practice song of the year for the Falcons is.
There we go. Terrin, you gotta.
I don't even know the name of the song, but the song Bone Crusher just happens to sing, I feel like, at every Atlanta home game.
Oh, yeah, the one that gets played. Yeah.
I ain't scared.
There's our breakout. I think we're done with our podcast today. That was the greatest moment in the history of this network.
I ain't never scared. I ain't never scared.
I'm a little scared right
now. Never in my life. That is insane.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. But if you don't, go to a Falcons game sometime this season and you'll find out.
I need a cameo with Bone Crusher.
Yes, we can make that happen maybe. Bone Crusher, big fan of this podcast. Reach out. I won't even pretend to know what is going to be the top song played down there, but I will say, sticking with our theme of Fridays, is that I don't know when this ended. Maybe it was sometime during the pandemic and maybe the Arthur Smith era, but they used to play the song Friday by Sir Charles Jones in the locker room on every Friday, and it was just kind of the smoothest, best way to kick off the weekend. I think
Friday.
Julio was a big fan of that one. Deion Jones was a big fan of that one. All the guys dancing. So go check that song out if you have no idea what song I'm talking about. But those are some great options. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Let's get into to the main stuff for today.
Don't let me rap anymore.
I encourage you to rap as much as you want to. If you want to rap
rapping?
all of your parts.
I don't think
I think that was speaking with a question mark.
So, speaking of question marks, what's left for the Falcons to play for in 2025? If you guys want to check it out, I just published a piece on AtlantaFalcons.com Thursday, kind of breaking down the paths left for Atlanta to reach the postseason. But spoiler alert, there are not many. In fact, there's really kind of just one way for the Falcons to win the division. Terrin, do you want to walk us through how that could happen?
Oh, yeah, because you and I were in this room going through that New York Times playoff simulator like it was Mario Kart or something.
It was so much fun.
It was click, 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 click. I felt like the lizard.
Just like
lizard.
I did it wrong.
But basically what we came to the conclusion was, first of all, the Falcons must win out. 5 games left. You have to go 5-0. The Buccaneers and Panthers need to only win 1 game apiece through the rest of the season, and the caveat there is that those sole wins have to come against each other.
Yeah, they got 2 games left head-to-head. They got to split those.
They have to split them, and that would put Atlanta atop the NFC South with a 9-8 record, while the other 2 are 8-9.
There you go.
You can't really bank on that happening.
It's tough.
There's
right?
a chance.
There is a chance.
You want to say? Oh wait, no. We always do the. What are you talking about, Paul? I was going to say. So you're telling me there's a chance? I'm going to stop talking.
Terrin has too many things in her brain right now.
As much as it stinks, though, the Falcons need to be the Saints' biggest fans over the next couple of weeks because the Saints have the Bucs and the Panthers on tap, and they've got to win both of those games. So again, like it's a long shot at this point. There's also a way to make the wild card, but that's kind of even longer shot. So
that math was a lot more complicated.
Oh yeah. I didn't even try to dig into it.
You would have had to put me in a dark room for a while.
So we're gonna kind of set the playoffs to the side for the time being, and maybe if the Falcons are 4-0 and all of those things have had, we'll bring it back at a future date. But given that, kind of where is the team right now, and what is on their minds, Terrin, and what's left to really play for at this point for them?
That was the biggest question mark after the loss to the Jets, because you're not stacking the way you wanted to. A loss there wasn't ideal whatsoever. And so you had someone like Kaden Elliss, who's a captain, say, we got to play for pride. You have Jake Matthews, who has been here since they were playing Friday in the locker room. That
don't
says,
think he was dancing to it, though.
We don't know.
He may have been.
Maybe.
I would pay to see that.
Yeah.
But he said, I just think taking pride in doing a good job. So pride is such an ambiguous term that when you do start to get in the specifics and ask people, like, what does that mean? What do you want to accomplish? Things like that. You had Kirk Cousins saying, like, let's see an improvement in third downs through these next 5 games. You had Ruka Roro this week being like, I just want to pull a whole week together. Like, feel like everything went as planned when it comes to preparation, pre-game, the game itself, and post-game, like a whole solid week of just execution. And so, and going back to Kaden Elliss again, I think this quote kind of like summarizes what they should want for the rest of the season.
Ooh, nice word.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. She writes. But he said, quote, the ability to finish out those games is really what separates teams, ... What do you do in those I'm close games? This year, it just hasn't gone our way yet. We haven't made it go our way yet. Mm-hmm. And I think the made it caveat there, the like correction of his own words, speaks volumes to like, they know it's on them that it hasn't gone that way. So I think that would be the biggest win. Is like, say there's like a really close game. Say it's like this weekend even with a big game on tap where you're in the fourth quarter and it is a 1-score game and you just not just close it out, but maybe put that final bullseye on the board.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Tori, what's kind of like your biggest question about the team over this last little stretch?
Yeah, my biggest question is because I feel like I've been doing a lot of looking ahead to 2026 already, just by nature of what we have seen over the last few weeks and since kind of the Falcons coming off of the bye. And the question that I have is like, can you do enough in the last 5 weeks of the season to make people feel better about 2026? And what you have going for you in 2026 and what you have in place in 2026. Like, I feel weird saying that with 5 weeks left in the season, but the fact of the matter is that this team is 4-8 right now. They have not been able to string and stack wins together, as you said. I mean, I feel like it sounds harsh, but in saying that, like, the expectations and the talent of this team going into the season was one thing, and we're looking at this team in a very different way now. And kind of like my question is like, so what are you going to do about it? You've been saying, players and coaches have been all saying kind of the same thing. It's like not playing up to expectations, not executing accordingly, needing to play better in the moments that matter, the critical moments. Like, okay, that's where you are. You have 5 weeks left in the season. Go out and show us that you can do that in these last 5 games to make you feel better about what you have going into 2026, because let's be honest, there are a lot of decisions that need to be made about personnel, about who you're even going to have available. Guys coming back from season-ending injuries that are going to play major roles. Like, there are so many questions.
Braylon Trice. Like,
Braylon,
he's a great example of this, of exactly what you're getting at.
Yeah, Michael Penix Jr. Like, you know, what is his recovery going to look like? There are so many questions. Drake London, can you get a deal together for him to keep him here long term? Like, these are a lot of big questions that you have to answer, but you have to get through the next 5 weeks by showing the fan base that, like, you're still in it to fight. Yep. And that you still have goals that you want to reach.
That you ain't ever scared?
That you ain't ever scared. Well, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. There you go.
Bone crusher.
Bone crusher.
This is amazing. We need to like set you up on a podcast with Bone Crusher. He's coming to sit in this chair next time.
Would I fangirl? I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recognize him if he sat right in front of me.
I think to kind of put a bow on that first one is like, it does feel like going into this offseason, there had been questions in past offseasons, but I feel like we've known what those main questions are, or at least what the main kind of, we've got to fix this, or we've got to go pursue this.
Quarterback, pass rusher.
Exactly.
Like, that was it.
Check.
Yeah.
Right now, it kind of feels a little more ambiguous.
100%.
It doesn't feel like there's, all right, we know what our clear kind of need is.
Yeah.
We know it because the games have been so close and the losses have come in different ways. That's where I think these next 5 weeks will be illuminating. And that starts obviously on Sunday against a very, very good team in the Seattle Seahawks. And the matchup that I think is kind of most interesting for this game, and we'll maybe define it, is Atlanta's run game, which has been their answer all season long, against Seattle's run defense, which is incredible. I mean, if you look at the numbers, they're second in the league in kind of total rushing yards per game. Granted, teams are often behind against them, so they're throwing the ball. So that number can sometimes be skewed. This one can't be, though. They're fourth in rushing yards per play. So this is a legitimate run defense. Tori, kind of what do you think the Falcons are up against in Seattle's run defense?
I mean, I think I was talking to some guys who cover the Seahawks and have for a long time, and earlier this week, and I think what was something that interesting that they said that I've kind of taken with me into the week is that it feels like this is an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, and that like Bijan Robinson is this like what are y'all laughing at?
I'm looking. I know she wants to say something.
I wanted to come up with a good analogy for an unstoppable force against an immovable object. The best I came up with is my empty bank account versus the Thai tea martinis at Surin.
A very niche
I know.
metaphor.
Or like my bank
job.
account versus the first Sunday fun day after the season ends.
Yeah, there you go.
Like-
yeah. But if you haven't tried the Thai tea martinis at Surin of Thailand, I would go and try them. They're very good.
Anyways.
But anywho.
I don't know. Y'all expected so much more out of me because I was like, I'm going to come up with a good one for this moment.
I think that
and
was
then
your
Will
best
looked
one.
right at me and I'm like, don't make eye contact.
It was so good.
I just saw y'all smirking at each other and I was like, what's
I was
happening?
avoiding eye contact, but I could feel him looking at me.
Anyways, but that was kind of what they were saying about like how good and stout the Seattle run defense has been in comparison to what we have seen Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, this run game do periodically throughout the course of this season. And I think that's what a lot of people are saying is the biggest matchup of this game.
Yeah, you wrote a little bit about Bijan earlier this week. I mean, what from the Falcons' perspective, like should they be going into this relying on Bijan to do?
Gosh, just being Bijan Robinson. Like, just let Bijan be Bijan. Because as you said, like I wrote this story earlier in the week of how well Bijan is performing, even with a team that has a losing record. And I reached out to Stats Perform, shout out to our partner, and just wanted to understand like really how impressive what he's doing is, especially given the team's overall output. And for example, Robinson leads the NFL in average yards from scrimmage with 132.4 per game. The last two players to finish the season atop that leaderboard specifically were Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley, and both those teams went to Super Bowls in their respective teams. Like, usually you think amazing player, also amazing team, making postseason, big run, full stop.
Everybody always says you got to have a good run game in the NFL, right?
Yeah, spotlight goes on both individual and team normally. Well, Bijan deserves his own spotlight. Like, there's just so much like that he's doing well. And even if we stick to like the present day stats, the other four players who are top 5 in that average yards from scrimmage per game are on winning teams. There's McCaffrey, who we already mentioned, Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Jahmyr Gibbs. That did not come out right.
He's an Alabama boy too. That was crazy.
And a Georgia boy. He went to, he was from Rome. He's from Rome, Georgia.
That's fair.
Look at, he is us.
Basically, yeah.
But
Me and Jahmyr Gibbs, like, just put us side by side.
Jahmyr and me.
Same person.
That's a Hallmark movie. I love that.
Oh, don't even get me started. But as I'm losing my train of thought, yes, Bijan is good.
Well, if he's less good on Sunday, shall we say, if he's bottled up by Seattle's great run defense, like what is the counter? What's the latest on Drake London? Will he be back? Because I kind of think when you're facing an offense that has been as explosive as Seattle's, there's a chance that they're able to put up north of 30 points. You're going to need to potentially be able to match that, even though Atlanta's defense has been great this year. So what is kind of their plan B if Bijan does get bottled up a little bit?
Yeah, well, their other star player is currently injured. I mean, he might come back, and let me say this specifically. Raheem Morris said Wednesday that Drake London has progressed from a week-to-week status to a day-to-day status with his knee injury. I cannot finish whole words.
It's okay.
He did not practice. No, I was about to. He did not practice Wednesday, but Morris said London has been working with the trainers, quote, doing running stuff. Or the running stuff is in quotes. We don't know about Thursday since we're recording this as the team is currently at practice.
I actually just got the injury report. He did not practice on Thursday. He was not a participant in practice on Thursday.
Okay. Was he doing running stuff?
I don't know. That I don't know.
That's back-to-back days without practicing, which normally would be concerning, but not with someone like Drake London. I mean, Raheem said when he's ready to go, Drake will be out there ready to go, playing at a very high level. So even if we get to game day and he was a DNP all week, I wouldn't even be surprised if somehow he plays. Mm-hmm. So I would wait until Sunday to completely rule him out when those inactives come out.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy, Tori. I feel like coming into this season, we were so focused on the offense and what they could be, and we're looking at these first-round picks all over the place and just the number of weapons that Atlanta has at its disposal. And here we are in Week 14, and it's kind of like Bijan Robinson, he's clearly your 1A, but if Drake is out, I know Kyle had a really good game last week against New York, but it just feels like there's, again, more questions a little bit than answers right now for Atlanta's offense.
Yeah, I agree. What's crazy to me is that the Falcons have not really been able to rely on individuals that they went into the season believing and having concrete evidence that you could rely on. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is Darnell Mooney has not been close to what he was last year. The injury that I think lingered really deeply into kind of his progression to get back to form, even physically. So you don't really have Darnell Mooney the same way you did. Ray McLeod is no longer on this team. Drake London, you've not had him for the last 2 weeks, potentially 3 because of a knee injury. And then there are guys within depth that, Kaderil Hodge.
Right.
Casey Washington, 2 individuals that you've put either draft capital on or you've brought in through free agency and has really made an impact for your team. Casey Washington for 2 weeks in a row has been a healthy scratch. Kaderil Hodge last week was also a healthy scratch along with Casey Washington. I specifically asked Raheem Morris what's going on there, because these are pieces of depth that you want to be able to rely on.
Yeah.
And you're kind of having to make other decisions. And he said that game day decisions are performance-based. And right now, they don't really feel as though they're getting enough out of the players based on what they're asking them to do. And I think that's a big problem for a receiver room, that your number 1 guy is hurt. Your number 2 guy hasn't really been performing to the level of production that you've seen him do in the past. And then you have kind of these backups, these depth pieces that are healthy scratches on game days. It's unfortunate because you went into this season. I know I was one of those people that went into this season feeling so good about what you had in your receiver room. You had 3 guys returning off of career years in various statistics. And to now feel like where this receiver room is now and feeling like you go into 2026 needing to retool it around Drake London, it's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, and I mean, anytime the good teams around the league, usually you can spotlight a few guys who took a little bit of a leap or a step up. And when you've got young players, especially in a room like wide receiver or defensive back, those are prime areas where you maybe draft guys on day 2, day 3, and then you work to develop them because you like skill sets. And it just kind of feels like defensively you can point to Brandon Dorlus developed really nicely. D. Alford has developed really nicely. Offensively, it's harder, I think, to find some of those guys, and that's where you're feeling it maybe right now as injuries naturally tick up throughout the season. Somebody who has been just nails since he was drafted in the first round, though, is AJ Terrell. The Pro Bowl story went up on Thursday. Yeah. Argument for why AJ Terrell should be in the Pro Bowl. Also, Tori, he had some other really big news this week.
Yeah, he was named the Falcons nominee. Well, I guess club winner. Club winner. He's the club winner
in my book
of the Walter Payton Man of the Year for the Falcons. Really big deal. Please go check out my story, because this is kind of a story that I've been following with AJ, that I've had conversations with AJ about since Grady Jarrett left to go to Chicago. Talking about having a guy from Atlanta be a hometown guy, giving back to the community, playing very well on the field. AJ really took that on, and I think that process has been seamless to kind of have the baton given to AJ Terrell. So go check out that story, Walter Payton Man of the Year, on AtlantaFalcons.com right now, and check out the video. They were able to surprise AJ earlier this week by having his brother, who's a cornerback at Clemson, drive down and be the one to tell him that he's the Walter Payton Man of the Year.
It had me tearing up before 9 a.m. I was like, I need my coffee.
Well, hey, he might need his brother to come down and help him with this matchup on Sunday, because they're going against the best receiver in the league in 2025, Jaxon Smith-Njigba. He has just been lights out for Seattle. I believe he still leads all receivers in yards this season. And kind of like Drake has been doing here, it's been a little bit of a one-man show for Seattle, but they're second in the league in explosive rate offensively through the air. So AJ is going to have to kind of be on his P's and Q's just throughout the day, I think, on Sunday. Like, Tori, what do you think of this matchup overall between these two guys?
I'm excited for it. It's the premier type of matchup that you are most looking forward to, I think. And what's really interesting, and this doesn't really have anything to do with AJ Terrell, but it's a stat that I came across that is, I think, indicative of the connection that Sam Darnold and JSN have together. And it's that these two guys have connected 21 times for over 500 yards and 4 touchdowns off of play action this season, which is over 20 yards per attempt, making them the only quarterback receiver duo to have combined for more than 40 such yards. The two of them have combined, this is the crazy part, the two of them have combined for more play action passing yards by themselves than 8 other entire NFL offenses. Like,
that's insane.
That's a crazy stat to me. I think it's like one of those things where it shows trends in the league.
Insane.
I think it shows trends in the league, but I also think it shows that this connection between quarterback and receiver is on another level at this point in time. And it's why having AJ Terrell as a piece of this is going to matter, because AJ Terrell is one of the top 20 best corners in the league. He's top 10 in certain metrics according to what you look at.
Absolutely. I mean, he is number one in terms, at least among qualified corners, with 300 coverage snaps, in the fewest number of targets. And like when you
and hasn't had a touchdown.
Has not given up
a touchdown.
He is one of, I believe, 3 players in the league, and again 2 over 300 coverage snaps. And I use that as a breakdown because the more snaps you play, obviously you're more prone to give up those. But he's got the fewest receptions allowed, fewest yards allowed among those corners, and kind of the greatest sign of respect for a cornerback is how rarely a quarterback throws in your direction. And AJ is getting thrown at less than anybody else. So I think that's kind of the best argument you could make as to why AJ should be in the Pro Bowl. Obviously, with a big game on Sunday, like he'll have the chance to make the strongest argument out there on the field and let his play do the talking. But were there Terrin, anybody else kind of Pro Bowl-wise that you wanted to give a shout-out to or make the argument for right here?
Well, I already did this, so I might as well do it again. Here is why Drake London should receive your Pro Bowl vote. He has missed 3 games and still has more total receiving yards than the rest of his position mates combined. And even with those absences, he still ranks in the top 10 among all NFC wide receivers in every major category. Like, come on.
I think he was like 3rd when he went out.
Yeah. Like, to remain there despite missing back-to-back games just goes to show what he has already done and why he is already worthy of a vote.
What about you, Tori?
I mean, Bijan. Like, who else are you voting for if you're not voting for Bijan?
Drake London.
True. Good point. Okay, fine. You can vote for both of them.
Porque no los dos.
But there's no one in the league, I would argue right now, that's playing the way that Bijan Robinson is, playing with the style that Bijan Robinson plays with. I think my biggest concern about Bijan, and this is something we've talked about for a long time about this team overall, is that he's on a 4-win team right now. So my plea to people is, like, don't let your anger about, like, the lack of wins get in the way of you voting for someone like Bijan Robinson, who is I'll say it, generational talent, who deserves his flowers for what he's been able to do this year, as well as kind of like who he's been. I mean, just who he's been in since he's been in the league. He deserves, as the NFL leader in scrimmage yards right now, like, he deserves the opportunity to kind of be on that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the NFL football is a team sport until it comes to Pro Bowl voting. And then it could be individuals all the way.
there is
So
an
go
eye.
make your voice heard and vote in your favorite players. But you can do that on AtlantaFalcons.com, on social media, with the QR code if you want to throw it back up right here, Jared. Right here.
I have an honorable mention, and I think you were going to skip over it, but I got to do it. I know we're on time. All right.
Jared's going to come busting through that door and yell at you.
Everyone needs to vote for punter Bradley Pinion.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
Well, let's end on that note. Everybody needs to also go share this podcast with one friend who is a Falcons fan. So, yeah, we're going to end it there. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Boy, that's off the rails. We will see you next time.